Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on Manor Lords. So every time I see a new video snippet on Twitter, Discord or a YouTube trailer about this game, I just get more and more impressed and increasingly hyped about its potential and what this game could actually be. I guess it always feels a little bit dangerous overhyping a game before it is released, or before really any of us have been even able to try it. But it's almost impossible to not be excited about a game that is being developed at such speed, and by only a single developer at that. It is also the fact that community feedback is not only listened to, but is kind of actively sought out by the developer and implemented into the game at a pace that AAA studios could only dream of. And it's this sort of thing that goes a long way to build not only a lot of confidence in the game, but actually also a lot of confidence in the man behind the game, the man making all this happen. Now, I'm sure most of you will have heard of Manor Lords, but for those of you who haven't, think Total War meets Banished, a combination of not only epic, gridless medieval city building, but hardcore, gritty, real-time combat battles, with sort of detailed unit commands and a proper battle interface. And I think it's this that really makes this game so unique, in my opinion. We have seen plenty of medieval city builders, but they almost exclusively ignore or reduce combat to an irrelevant or poorly implemented sideline so that they can sort of really focus on the building elements of the game. Or on the flip side, Total War has sort of dominated the medieval real-time battle scene for so long now, but has never really implemented any proper city building to any real degree beyond, the sort of token gestures that determine your economy and how much money you have available by clicking a few buttons. From the city building side of things, we actually already have a pretty good understanding of some of the core mechanics. We know the game is going to feature a gridless building map, where roads are going to be developing naturally, depending on things like building locations and terrain. But objects will still have the option to snap to their boundaries where needed. For example, a field boundary following the edge of a road. And this is what's going to give Manor Lords its sort of very natural and realistic look. And the map itself is then going to be split and divided into 50 different regions, with different regions being able to specialise into different products and resources. Each region will get its own tech tree, which can be researched to allow sort of further development of that region's specialities. For example, one region might focus on beer making, or another might focus on stonecraft. But for all regions, only by refining these resources into these high-end desirable items and products will they attract the merchants into their region, and then these merchants will buy the goods for silver, and this is going to be the only way of making new money. There's going to be no random gold mines or tax money out of thin air. Trade is going to be the future. Once trade is flowing and prosperity is on the up, you'll have the option to start to tax your subjects, to bring in money to your own lord's purse, as this is actually going to be separate from the regional wealth. You'll have a few taxation options available to you, from taxes on trade to a special levy to support the war effort. You can even charge a tithe, which is going to go direct to the church, but in return you'll gain their influence and support with the king. This is going to give you quite a few different options in how you want to sort of balance your economy, because taxes are always going to have consequences and affect happiness, but you get the option about how you balance, choose and tax your subjects. Finally, before we get onto the combat side of things, I do very much like the diplomacy mechanics in this game. From flattery to insults, your relations with other lords are controlled by building up these sort of letters using these pre-scripted lines. A kind of a simple mechanic, but a much cooler way of doing things than simply just pressing a button to declare war. Now, impressive as the city building side of the game is, I get the distinct feeling that most people are actually really interested in the battle and combat side of the game, and this seems to be where the development has really been focused over the past few months. Troops will be, broadly speaking, split into 3 different category types. Firstly, peasant militia, the guys who work in your fields, work in your mines and shops, are forced to pick up what equipment they can find and fight for their lord. Likely to be poorly equipped these guys are probably going to be making up the bulk of your armies, but there are going to be options to improve their equipment and issue them with additional protection and weapons if you are prepared to spend the money and stock the resources to do so. The second group is going to be predominantly made up of mercenaries. Much better trained and equipped, these guys are going to be pretty expensive to hire, so you're going to have to be making quite a good source of silver income from your taxes to be able to afford them. But they are going to be much better combat troops than the peasant militia, and really may make all the difference in turning the fights with your neighbours. Finally, you of course have your own Lord's retinue, the elite bodyguards and soldiers who are well equipped and trained to serve with you on the battlefield. These are going to be a key unit of well equipped, well trained and proper military soldiers. From the new battle trailer, we really get a much better insight into how the combat mechanics will work in Manor Lords. I absolutely just love the equipment variety we see on units now, rather than the usual copy and paste we see in these type of games. The charges look impactful and effective, with the impact rippling through the units. The combat animations, which have recently been reworked, look absolutely fantastic and a real improvement from what they were previously. On top of this, we have new combat mechanics that Total War players can only dream of. For example, a proper waypoint system that allows you to control the unit path and actually allows you to outflank an enemy unit without micromanaging it the entire way around. Proper formation controls, the ability to tighten or loosen up formations, get a unit to push harder and drive into the enemy, or to fall back and give ground or tactically retreat if you're on the back foot and being pushed hard. We also see high ground and terrain giving buffs and debuffs to units, so unit placement and making use of terrain on the battle map is going to be all important. Fatigue and weather are also going to play critical parts in the outcome of battles, as well as things like the option to either volley fire archers or just allow them to fire at will. The options in the game seem really good, and the tactical battles seem like they really are going to rival any Total War game. As I said at the start, there is always a risk of overhyping a game like this. It's clearly going to be good, great even, but I do want to at least try and keep myself in check and not let my mind get too far ahead of itself. The game is, after all, being developed by only one guy, so we have to be half realistic about what can reasonably be achieved. I mean, either way, I honestly can't wait to get my hands on the game and try it out for myself. I think it really has the potential to be a defining game of this period. But anyway, that's all we've got time for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give the video a like, as it really does help the channel out. And if you'd like to stay up to date with more Manor Lords news, please be sure to subscribe, as we'll be covering the game right up to release and beyond. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.